Hey guys, welcome to the In the Galaxy podcast. It's me, Michael G. Ilkison. I spelled it right that time with my co-host Jay Williams. What's up, Jay?
Hey, what's going on? I'm excited about this podcast.
I'm very excited as well about this podcast.
Yeah, tell them why we're excited about this podcast.
We are so excited because we have a guest. It's our first guest on this show, actually. He is a screenwriter, and he's actually making his own movie. Ryan Snelling, welcome to the show. How you doing, Ryan?
Hello, I am doing very well. Super excited to be here.
And I'm sorry for calling you Ryan. You actually don't go by Ryan always, right?
I don't. I go by my last name. It's Snelling, Snelling. I've been that as long as I can remember. I don't really remember my friends ever calling me Ryan before I was 6 years old, maybe something like that.
I'm going to interject right there because I have a big problem with calling people nicknames.
Okay.
So I will call you Ryan. That's just how it's going to be. So when Michael and I were in high school, I went to a different middle school than Michael, but like had all these friends that still lived here. And
Right.
when I came back to high school, there was this kid named Martin. There was this kid named Martin in high school, and he said, and I was like, oh, when I came back for the first day, I was like, oh, hey, Martin, what's up? And he was like, oh, it's actually not Martin anymore. It's, what did he call himself, Michael?
You don't want to say last name.
Yeah. Was it like Curtis or something?
It was Mad Dog. No,
I know it was like Kurt. It was like Curtis. It was like his middle name. So he was like, I'm just gonna say for the story, his name was Curtis, and he was like, oh, it's actually not Martin now. It's Curtis. And I was like, no, it's still Martin. And I'm pretty sure that nobody ever called him Curtis ever again.
You're not Prince.
Start to Martin.
Your name.
Yeah, who does that? Not that you're doing that, Ryan.
Oh, we were talking about this before the show, but talk about Ryan. Tell our viewers why you don't let girls call you Ryan or Snelling. I mean.
Okay, well, yeah, the question was, does everyone call you Snelling? And I said, no, I don't let girls call me that. The second that a girl calls me Snelling, that means that I'm no longer a sexual entity in their eyes. And I will just not have that, ever.
They're automatically into the friend zone just by calling you by your last name.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, or that's how I know I'm there. So I don't really go through anything embarrassing as far as, nothing ultimately humiliating tells me I'm in the friend zone. It's just when they call me Snelling. So.
Well, see, it's kind of like, because Ryan is a screenwriter, like myself, and it's kind of weird, like as a writer, it's like it's not too impressive, but if you're a screenwriter, it kind of adds cool points, I feel.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I think I can never be a writer. I can never be a novelist.
A novelist, yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to put it. I don't think I could ever write a book.
Okay, so here's my first question for you. What would you tell people is the difference between being a novelist and a screenwriter? Like, or would you say it's very similar, or would you say it's very different?
It's similar as far as, I guess, hitting certain plot points. You need to put as much work into it as you can. I'm trying to think of a great term to use. Pre-writing, when you're sorting characters and all that stuff, you need to put a lot of care into both. You have far more work to do as a novelist because a screenplay is a visual medium. So when you're writing, you only have to worry about what you see and what you hear. And that's far easier to me.
Oh, yeah, because like some novelists will go on for pages just about what a room looks like and how it makes them feel. In
Right.
Screenwriting, it's just like, well, this is what the set looks like, and then you're done. It's going to be on screen, so you can skip past that.
Just from an outsider perspective, somebody that I mean, you guys are both screenwriters, and I'm merely just some snot-nosed kid being like, I like this, I don't like this.
I'm merely a graphic designer and a music producer who's amazing at everything I try.
So here's the thing. Like, I agree with what you guys are both saying. It seems like screenwriting for movies and stuff, the visual aspect of it allows you to develop your characters much more thoroughly, as opposed to like what you were saying, Michael, spending a whole fucking chapter on pretty much figuring out if some character's retarded or not. So like my point is like, so then you have television, and Ryan, I know you're like a really big Lost fan, and for me, like Lost kind of, I don't want to paint with too broad of a brush and not pay homage to other people before it, but I think that show for me made me realize how much more interesting of a medium that television is as opposed to movies, just because you have that long form ability to just really dive into more intricate characters and stuff like that. I mean, I respect the hell out of people that can do it, like a Scorsese or a J.J. Abrams or something that can develop a character in such a short amount of time in a movie. But I mean, what do you think personally, just from your point of view? Do you think it's TV is more the future, or I don't know if I explained my question or not, but what do you prefer?
Why don't you restate it, because I'm confused. You asked about 3 different ones.
Okay, so you have a book which allows you, it's the longest form of storytelling you can have. Yes.
True.
Okay. Then you have a movie, which is probably the shortest. One single movie is probably one of the shortest forms of storytelling. Right. But then you have a television show, which is kind of in between. Which do you prefer, or which would you, I guess, Ryan, which would you like to work on in terms of character development, or which would you prefer in character development? Obviously not the book thing, but
you mean as a creator or as a fan? Which do I prefer?
As a fan first. As a fan.
Well, the problem with so much TV is that there's no end game to a lot of shows. So many shows will go on until they wither and die and then get canceled, and I don't like that about TV. Mm-hmm. I think if there was more freedom, like as far as like network television goes, as far as writers, we could see more stories ending from beginning to end. Breaking Bad. I'm trying to think of shows that ended on their own terms. Breaking Bad was one. Lost.
Yeah. Lost, Breaking Bad was one. Obviously, Mad Men is gonna probably end up being like that.
Yes,
any
absolutely.
HBO show is kind of done like that. They all have about the longest HBO show I can think of was probably Sopranos, and I think it was maybe like 8 seasons.
That was 8. Yeah, I think it was 8. Not counting. I think there was
people disappointed with that.
Yeah,
the ending.
Absolutely.
I think most people were. Were you disappointed with it, Michael?
I am ashamed to admit that I never watched The Sopranos all the way through. I've seen certain episodes, but
I watched the ending. I never
seen
watched
the finale. Do you know how the finale ends?
I have no idea. I just heard people in the industry saying it was a huge disappointment.
Can we talk about this? Or,
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, for the record, you can't spoil something that's this fucking old. It's not. It's impossible. Okay. And by now you know we're about to spoil The Sopranos, so just go ahead.
Okay. So what happens in The Sopranos is the final scene. The family is going into a diner to eat. It's a slow kind of scene. It's very nice. What Journey's playing, right?
I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember.
Okay, anyway. So basically you see Tony and the wife walk in, and then slowly one character comes in, one of the kids, and he's playing a song on the jukebox. I think it was Journey. Anyway, so it goes through that for like 3 minutes, and then right in the middle of the scene, it just cuts to black.
Yeah, he actually goes to the bathroom, I think, doesn't he? I think that was one of the big talking points was there was something, or it might have been somebody went to the bathroom in that scene, and that was one of the big things was, was that guy going to kill them? I don't remember. There was something about there was somebody that was going to kill him in the scene. I don't know. What did you think, Ryan? Were you disappointed with it?
I didn't watch The Sopranos all the way through. I was there. I mean, I understand the significance of it.
Yeah.
I I don't really know why people are upset with it. I don't know the reason why the showrunner decided to end it that way, but the story was over, right? I mean, they were in the diner.
I don't know. I don't know the context of it, but this is a good transition because
Showrunner for non-industry folks means the executive producer, Matthew Weiner, who is also the executive producer of Mad Men. Just throwing that in there. And I also wanted to say that the ending of Sopranos sounds like it was both figuratively and literally shit. Since he went to the bathroom.
No, well, I don't know if I agree with that.
I don't remember the bathroom. I remember onion rings. Somebody ordered onion rings, and that was the last bit of. I don't remember the bathroom though.
Here's the thing about the ending. I'm indifferent about it because I haven't actually watched the whole show, so I can't say much about it. But my biggest defense of it being of people just saying it's shit. Here's the first thing that I'll say about a TV show ending, especially one with that long of time span, and Lost does the same thing. There's so many people who spent so much time with Lost and they saw the final episode and it wasn't the exact thing that they wanted to happen, and they say that show sucked. Well, okay, you mean to tell me that a show with over 100+ episodes sucked because of the last episode? That's a completely naive statement to make.
Yeah.
That the entire show itself was terrible because of the last episode. It wasn't exactly how you wanted it.
Exactly.
You can't satisfy everybody, and nobody was going to be fully satisfied. I liked that last episode, and I wasn't fully satisfied by it, but
see, I loved it. I was totally satisfied. I can't stand Lost haters. I've been in so many arguments with people. I think the biggest thing that I've come to realize is that the haters just didn't get it. And I think that is the biggest problem. If someone could write a piece for the internet that said, or if Damon and Carlton could come out, have a written document somewhere online and said, look, if you think they were dead the whole time, you were wrong. And here's why. And it's funny because I've seen the finale several times, and when I watched it, I never questioned that. I never once thought that they were dead the whole time. And I think that it was clearly stated in a certain scene, we'll call it the architect scene, like in the Matrix.
Christian Shepherd, yeah.
That scene.
Michael right now. Michael, have you watched Lost?
I haven't.
Okay, Michael's like,
this
you guys
means
are
nothing
so
to me.
fucking nerdy.
No, I actually want to watch
architect
the show,
scene.
but I'm afraid that I'll be too engulfed in it because everybody's like, "Oh, once you start watching it, it's all you're gonna want to do. You're gonna quit your job. You're gonna."
As a screenwriter, I'm sorry, and I'm a little bit of a Lost nerd myself, like Ryan. That show is in the pantheon of one of the most complexly written pieces of any sort of storytelling that I've ever seen in my entire life. You owe it to yourself to watch it.
Damon and Carlton, the showrunners, and who also wrote a bunch of episodes, they're actually the reason why I got into screenwriting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Man, we are just segueing like a motherfucker here.
Yeah.
So tell us more about how you actually got into screenwriting.
Well, I've always been making movies. I was really privileged when I was younger. I was the only kid that had a camcorder. So I got to make movies every weekend at my friends' houses. We'd get together and just put together little monster movies and stuff like that. We had a bunch of Halloween makeup.
What was the first movie you made?
It was called Night of the Evil Clown.
Night of the Evil Clown.
Yes.
Love it.
We had one of our friends at the time, we were in 6th grade, but he was like 6 foot, weighed like 220 pounds, huge guy at the time. And he had this clown mask, and it was classic. It was so great. And so basically, the premise was he just killed the same 2 people over and over again because, it was only 3 of us filming the movies. So it was basically every weekend we recycled the same plot, but it would put it in a different setting. So
nice.
But yeah, they took off, and then certain people in our class found out that we were doing this kind of stuff, and we kind of had people come along and they wanted to have their own movie with them in it. And so we had several different people after a while come on and do that kind of stuff with us. So it was exciting. So I did that for a while. It was in high school when I didn't have a lot of people that were as like-minded with it anymore. I was sort of the only one that just really cared about film, and like
Right.
we had our film classes in high school, and they were just that, right? They were just high school film classes. People take them for an easy A or what have you. So I kind of lost interest in. I guess I was interested in directing at the time, and acting. I lost interest in that, and it was when I started watching a lot more TV, and Lost came on, and I started paying attention to the writers on the show, and I just thought, hey, I want to learn about screenwriting. And we mentioned showrunners before. I think that was about the time the showrunners kind of started coming out as celebrities themselves. I mean, Damon and Carlton are huge.
Absolutely.
At least to me, they're huge figures.
Yeah.
And they're doing very well. They're doing a lot of stuff now.
And that's Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse for anybody that's unfamiliar.
Right.
Damon Lindelof has been involved in stuff like Prometheus and the Star Trek movie. Is that right? I think all three of them weren't they?
The Carlton. I don't think Carlton's done any movies.
Okay.
Post Lost, at least. Damon produced and wrote both of Bad Robot's Star Treks.
Right.
He did the rewrite of World War Z when it was just total shit and the third act was terrible, and they brought him on, and Drew Goddard too. Drew Goddard.
Yeah. He's the guy that did. Is he the guy that did Cloverfield? He's the one that was involved with Cloverfield, wasn't it?
I think Drew Goddard. He wrote Cloverfield.
Okay.
Yeah. And Drew Goddard also, did he direct or write Cabin in the Woods?
I don't remember. I don't know.
He had something to do with Cabin in the Woods. I think he's writing or show running one of the new Marvel Netflix series I think it's Daredevil.
The point is, it's just a freaking all-star casting of people, and I think that's what's really neat is you get to see these kind of close-knit group. It's like a crew. It's like a rap crew that all run around together and they rap on the same songs.
Right.
This whole Bad Robot crew that kind of works together. They're
I mean, there's definitely a lineage that you can track with it. Like one of my favorite shows is Modern Family, and the two executive producers for that, they
Steve
actually.
Levitan?
What's that?
Steve Levitan, is that?
Yeah, Steve Levitan's one, and I didn't want to say Steve Levitan because I can't think of the other name of the other guy, and that's a big no-no for me, who has been, especially that I just says my favorite show. But Christopher Lloyd, that's why. Christopher Lloyd, not the Back to the Future Christopher Lloyd, which that's who I thought it was, but Christopher Lloyd and Steve Levitan, yeah. They actually met on this show, Frasier, which I was never a fan of Frasier, but, you could trace that back. But, I mean, one thing that I'm super interested in is, like, you've got the show House of Cards now. Now, the thing that's cool about House of Cards is it's a TV series on Netflix, and it's different than before. Like Ryan mentioned earlier, a show could be canceled at any time, so you don't necessarily always have the time to give it the proper ending that you feel that it deserves. So, I mean, like, it's really cool that we're going in this age now where, like you were talking about in 6th grade of, like, hey, we have an audience of people that want to see our movies. Let's make this happen. And that's the same with Netflix. So many people are on Netflix. There's no Nielsen ratings. It's just like, hey, I like the show. More people subscribe, and then they make the show. And they're making enough money to bring in, like, Kevin Spacey and just all these big actors. So I guess to kind of transition a little more about your movie, tell us, a little bit about the movie and what you're doing with that, because you're kind of doing something similar with getting your movie produced.
Let's see where to start. It came up in October of last year, so I guess I've been working on it for it's been 6 months already. So I had I have a friend in Frankfurt. He's a lawyer. He's a big political figure in Frankfurt. I met with him because we have mutual friends, and I was just talking to him one day, and he said, "What do you think about filming a movie in Frankfurt?" I said, "Well, I've always wanted to do something like that. It's always been an issue. It's always been an issue having people come on, and I don't know any actors. I can't pay these people, so why are they going to do me that kind of favor?" He says, "Well, man, I hope you do it. I've got connections at UK with the film department, and come with me or come at me with an idea, and I'll help you make the movie."
Wow.
I went home that night and came up with the idea then, and I was ready to go back to his office the next day, and I pitched a version of what I have now, and it was a go.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how many, for people that don't know, how many pages are typically in a screenplay, and how many drafts did you write before you got to your final draft?
Usually, if you're writing a spec, which is, I guess, an amateur screenplay for someone who's trying to break into the business, right?
Yeah, spec is
okay.
what people in the business call it. Yeah, script. Yeah.
So if you're trying to break into the field, you probably want to shoot for 90 to 110 pages. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if everyone needs to know this, but they say it's a minute. It's a minute a page.
Yes, good rule.
Screen time, give it or take. So it's tricky. I don't know what you call drafts, or I don't know what I call drafts really, because I'll kind of write to. Usually, I'll get to like 85, and then I'll go back and I'll add some filler and then see if it works. And I have a very disorganized way of getting through that process. I guess I've written maybe 4 drafts total. I actually haven't even done my final draft yet. So I get it just depends, honestly. I mean, I've only written 3 features to date, so I'm kind of still figuring out how all that goes, and so.
Well, you know, one of the things I think helps with screenwriting is the more shorts that you film and actually watch, the better of an idea that you have when you're actually writing something. Because if you have to reading screenplays is not natural. It's not meant to be read. It's meant to be on the screen. You have to read it with an imagination. So I think the more short films that you do, it really helps with making your stage directions better. Like, I mean, you have to write everything. It's like he walks out of the room, he sits down on the toilet and takes a shit. It's like you have to write down all these directions.
Right.
So I mean, yeah, I think that's, you know, making short films helps a lot with that. Go ahead.
See, I'm kind of shooting big for this. I did all my movies in high school, and then I've done a couple like comedic shorts made for YouTube. But as far as actually doing a short film production, I've never done that. I kind of just had this idea and went with it. So I don't know if that's going to be a curse going forward, but I guess we'll find out.
Well, for the record, I don't mean to jump in, but you know, like everybody's obviously got to start somewhere without being super cliche about it. But you even look at kind of what you were talking about, Michael, with the whole short story thing. People filming short stories, and kind of that filters its way into a long form movie. You know, that's been a running theme in literature probably up until, I don't know, the early 90s maybe. For a long time. I mean, people like Stephen King they used to write short stories and submit them to magazines and stuff like that. And you know, that's pretty much how the very first version of his Dark Tower series was done, the Gunslinger book. And people like J.D. Salinger, they used to write short stories and stuff like that all the time.
I think
it's interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting the point that you make with that. And obviously Ryan is doing it the wrong way, and he needs. I'm just kidding, but no, I think it's cool, man. You know, if an opportunity like that comes up that you had, you can't just sit back and say, no, I'm gonna wait a little while and write some short films. So, you know, you can shove it. No, you got to take what you get, man. I think it's really awesome that you're doing. And you're doing a crowdfunding campaign too. That's something we haven't really touched on yet. A little bit.
Right. So part two of that story, and what segues into the crowdfunding, is that I wrote a couple drafts, and he really helped me kind of figure out my characters, and he was getting me in touch with people that, because it was really important that I actually wrote around people that I knew, instead of just coming up with a character and trying to find someone later. Because in Frankfurt, you're not going to find. There are actors in Frankfurt, sure, but not the ones that I needed. So it really helped to meet someone first, write a character around them when they agreed to do the movie. So yeah, that was working out.
So you've already done casting.
I have about 90% of my casting done.
Wow.
Yeah.
And did you cast it yourself or with some friends or?
Myself. Yeah. I made sure that I had a person in mind before I started writing it. The family that's involved, it's a mother and 2 sons. One of the sons is someone that I've known for a very long time. I went to high school with him. He's one of my good friends. It's his actual little brother, who also plays little brother in the movie, and their mom will play their mom in the movie. She sort of let me in to their family life, as far as getting ideas for the movie, getting to know the characters, and it really helped to, like I said, to reiterate, make the characters a whole lot like the actors. So I asked her permission. I said, hey, can you basically just let me in, take notes down, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to write my thing. And she said, that's fine. She told me a ton of stories that happened at home with their boys growing up. And I was able to use a lot of that for things in the movie. And I told her what I would put in, and she said, okay, and gave me her blessing.
Man, you know, I'm going to interject right there because, it's been it's been about 6 years, Jay, since I've lived in Kentucky, like 7 years.
I have no idea, man. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. I grew up in Kentucky, but I'm out here in California now. It's about my a little over a year that I've been out here. And that's, you know, people like, you know, growing up in Kentucky, I don't know if you can relate, Ryan, but like a lot of people are like, oh, people from California just think we're rednecks and that we're hillbillies and that we're stupid and this and that. But, I mean, we actually have – and I'm not – like, that's what I thought. That's just what I thought. I heard Jay snickering a little bit. But, like, people actually really enjoy Southern culture. They're like – they'll like a Southern accent. They'll, you know, think it's cool, that it's different. And, you know, that's what I tell people about, you know, like the culture in Kentucky. Like, people are so welcoming. Of just like, hey, come into my home and you can do this. I'm going to tell you stories. I'm sure they fixed you even dinner and like meals and stuff while you were in there. But I mean, I think it's just great to showcase Kentucky like that. There's a lot of filmmakers that are very passionate about showcasing Kentucky. Elizabethtown was shot here, Seabiscuit, some other movies like that. But I mean, for me, being a Kentuckian, very proud Kentuckian, I like that it's showcasing, you know, it in that way.
Yeah. Well, for one, we have Jennifer Lawrence, so nobody can talk shit anymore, right? I mean, come on.
And that other guy. What's the other dude's name from that movie? Who's also from Kentucky?
Josh Hutcherson.
Yeah.
He's nowhere near as hot as Jennifer Lawrence, obviously.
I would agree with that. My friends in San Francisco, some of them probably would not agree.
Yeah. Right. For the record, I kind of want to tie a few things together here. I actually had the chance. I don't know, Ryan, if you knew this or not, but Damon Lindelof's wife is actually from Kentucky. Did you know that?
And who is Damon Lindelof?
Damon Lindelof was one of the writers of Lost. He's just a really big writer. Just go check him out. So
we have IMDb.
His wife went to UK, graduated from UK, and she came and talked. She did like some sort of seminar thing at UK one time, and I went for extra credit. Pretty much A for extra credit and B because it was his wife. And she was talking about how difficult it actually is to shoot movies in Kentucky for the sole fact that a lot of production companies, they look for states that have a big grant system for the arts and namely for films.
Tax write-offs. Yeah,
pretty much.
Louisiana has the biggest incentive.
Yeah, and pretty much Kentucky has like zero for that. So
imagine that. Kentucky's not supporting the arts.
Yeah.
Well, not to go too far off, but Jay, do you remember the I think you were at the Time Talks Lost.
What was it? I was at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Movie theater.
Yeah.
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 Is Tom Talks a version of TED Talks?
Time magazine.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was a broadcast that went to, I guess, like Cinemark theaters or whatever, and it was like a panel with the showrunners, and it was only something that absolute Lost nerds enjoy.
They put it on. I think it was like either the week before the last episode, or it might have been a few nights before the last episode, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really close to the end because they
pretty much answered a bunch of questions from fans, and
it was cool.
Yeah.
I love those. I went to a screening of. You guys remember that movie, The Incredible Burt Wonderstone? It came out a year ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the kid from Freaks and Geeks is one of the writers for that, John Francis Daly, and to actually see him talk about that movie, which they went through literally. Let me see. I think it was 12 drafts of the script, like completely different script. While they had one director. Well, guess what? They got a new director. The director dropped after 12 drafts. And then they had to write 8 more drafts, and that's what we saw today, in the can finally. But, yeah.
Yeah. So, were you making a point about that Lost thing, Ryan? Or were you just bringing it up?
I just brought it up.
That's cool. So before I absolutely forget about this, so your crowdfunding campaign, it's actually still going on right now, right?
Yeah. Okay. Part 3 of that story. So, so I get all the chess pieces put in the proper place, and I'm ready to get this going. He suddenly drops out of the project.
Whoa.
Yeah.
The guy that you met with your political friend. Okay.
The
Wait,
reason
politicians lie?
What? Crazy.
This is crazy.
Yeah. Plot
I'm
twist.
sorry. Go on.
So he dropped out, and I had my tail between my legs, and I remember finding out at work, and I had to just like sit on the ground because I thought my life had ended, and it was terrible. But luckily, spite runs through my veins, and I finally just decided this is why I need it to happen. I've got to continue. I have to make a point here that I can do this on my own. So that's where the crowdfunding came from. I put it in everyone else's hands. But yeah.
So where can people find out about you? Are you on Indiegogo? Is that what you're?
Yes. I liked Indiegogo because if I'm correct, Kickstarter. Basically, you can fail at Kickstarter.
Yeah.
To where if you basically, if anyone needs to know how crowdfunding works, essentially, you have your project available for people to see. You have your pitch, and in my case, it was a little video of me talking about the project, and basically, we're saying we need your money. And in return, we'll give you cool perks, right? If you donate $5, like if I'm offering a PDF of the script, if you give me $5, if you give me $150, you can have a walk-on role, producer's credit, all kinds of other things. So you have your goal, my goal is $3,000. If I had done it with Kickstarter, if I didn't get that $3,000, I have to give all the money back.
Right.
And I was just interested in only basically accepting donations.
Right.
And I could do that with Indiegogo. I think I have to give them a certain percentage if I don't reach my goal, but it's nothing disastrous. So.
Yeah. And for anybody that's wondering just about this whole crowdfunding thing, it's a pretty interesting phenomenon that's kind of happened in the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, I think. And I think when people talk about it, it seems kind of like, what the fuck, like people are just going to give you money, but it's actually been really, really successful. I mean, for instance, a band that I like, and Brian's listened to him before, you might have even played with them, but Life in Your Way, they did a whole new record. Like they had pretty much broken up, and they decided they were going to do a new record. I think they ended up raising something like $30,000 or something. Misery Signals asked for like $80,000 or something like that for their record. I don't know what you need $80,000 to make a record for, but it might have been to do a record tour, do merch, all that stuff. But it's a neat phenomenon. And man, Michael and I have talked about this before, but it just shows you that people at the very end of the day, they're interested in content. You know what I mean? They don't care about, long gone are the days of, oh, well, NBC puts on great shows, so I'm just going to watch whatever's on NBC. And, long gone are the days where, oh, Capitol Records signs really good bands, so anybody they sign, I'm just going to listen to. It's all about content. It's all about what you make, and the power is back in the hands of the content creators, and that's amazing. So I don't know where I'm going with that, but
yeah, but I mean,
amazing.
Well, I mean, I was talking to somebody about, my screenwriting, and I was just talking to them about like it'd come up. I was having lunch with a colleague, and they were like, "Oh, you're a screenwriter," and I was talking about my goals, about how I wanted to do what Ryan's doing, basically with the crowdfunding, and I say, it would be really hard for me to ask for money for people because I'm not that type of person that's just like, let me ask for money, but I mean. You have to, and what this person said to me is like, they said, you have to view it as a product. Like you are asking for funding for a product here. And, the more certain you are, the more passionate you are about your product, it's the better actually. So, I mean, I think it's wonderful to kind of do that. And especially if it hits it big, if you take it to some film festivals.
I don't know if I would even consider it even asking for money. I don't think it's so much as you're asking people for money as people want to support what you're doing. They believe in the project that you're trying to do, and they want to support what it is you're actually doing because they believe in it. I mean, I think if you go into it being like, oh, please give me money, please, it's kind of like, oh, whatever. But it's like, hey, I've got this awesome project. If you guys want to be a part of it, you can be. So. I know I gave money. I don't have it anymore, but I used to have a poster up here from that Life in Your Way thing that I did. So I don't know. I think it's neat.
And you're not really asking for money completely, right? I mean, like I said, you are rewarded as a donator.
Well, I mean, it's like art. It's like paying for a painting. Like people that do that are just like, oh, I want to put this painting on my wall. I mean, that's essentially what you're doing. You like how it looks. You like the beauty of it. I mean, it's the same with a movie. You're getting a product with that. I mean, it's not just about the money. It's about the product.
Right. It's about the product at the end of the day. And I mean, at least for musicians and stuff, when I think it's pretty cool when a band does a crowdfunding thing, because it's like the band's pretty much like, look, if you don't pay us this money, or if you don't give us this money, we can't make another record. And people want to hear new records from bands like all the time. So that's why I think that's really neat. But I'm sure, man, I'm really, really excited to see this movie take off for you. And have you thought at all about distribution? Are you going to try to do that on your own? How's that going to work for you?
I'm really interested in just keeping it digital. I was actually listening to your all's podcast about the future of television, and I think it was Gilkey. I'm calling you Gilkey.
That's cool, man.
He was it you that had the story about Lena Dunham?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I heard that, and I was really inspired by that. That's exciting, right?
I mean, yeah, and I mean, you could get that on Netflix.
Right. So yeah, that's something I'm definitely. It depends on what the final product is. If I don't feel like it's worthy of that, then I'll probably just distribute it myself. But if I think that it's ready, yeah, I'm going to enter it into festivals, and I'm going to see about getting it distributed on Netflix and see if we can go that route. Again, it all depends on the final product. I don't know how excited I should be about it yet, but it's definitely cooking in there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the cool thing about it is to relate it. You guys are both movie guys, and I'm just a lover of movies and film and stuff like that. I have to relate everything back to music. So, Ryan, what you're doing right now is you're putting out your demo, right? You're putting out your demo,
Right. Okay.
and you're basically saying, I want this to go out to people, and I want people to be stoked about my full length that I'm going to put out, right? Okay, so
Right.
that's your goal, man. I think that's awesome. Like this digital age and stuff that we have, it's just making things so much more accessible.
Absolutely.
And I don't know, it still breaks my heart. I've written papers about this, dude. At UK, I wrote countless papers about this because it was something I was passionate about. But when I would go into Best Buys, Walmarts, Targets, etc., and see just rows and rows still, and I know they're getting smaller, but rows and rows of physical CDs, physical DVDs, and stuff like that. I'm just like, why? If these weren't here, I wouldn't have to pay $10 on iTunes for this completely endless product you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, what? I don't understand why I'm paying $30. Wait, no, not $30. How much does a movie cost on iTunes? Why did I say $30?
Like 10, 12? I don't know.
$12.
7? I'm just guessing,
$7.
by the way.
The movie, I'm down with. I'm down with the movie, but a CD, so Ryan and I also know somebody, a guy that was in Ryan's band, Josh, who records music now.
Right.
Josh Suddeth. So it doesn't. I shouldn't have to pay $10 for a CD. I'm going on a rant. I'm just sorry. I'm sorry. I'm going on a rant. I shouldn't have to pay $10 for a CD, but I will pay $3,000 for Ryan's movie. Just putting that out there. Just plugging it. Hardcore.com/Indiegogo. I don't know the URL.
No.
Give it up.
Okay.
What's the web address? Where can people find it, man?
Okay, so you can go to Indiegogo.com, search for the project Heartcore, as in heart, and then cool. I don't know. That's not good.
For anybody that didn't watch this, he just did the straight up gesture of fucking butt or.
Oh my gosh!
Else, so.
I love it how you tried to explain what he did, and you just did the same hand motion that he just did.
I said butt or vagina fucking, one of the two.
Well, the index finger going into a circular hand thing.
Right. And that's
penis insertion of vagina or another orifice.
It's like hardcore, but heart instead of hard. Right? I like the name.
Yeah, like your heart, your beating heart, the organ.
Stuff is going over my head. I don't know what you all are talking about, but I was just doing this is core, so I don't know what you're all talking about.
We're talking about how this. It doesn't matter. So, real quick, I know the music or the band. The band. What the fuck am I talking about? The movie is very music influenced. We didn't even really talk about this. We were supposed to, but we didn't. But I actually know Ryan because he was in a band that the band that I was in played with, and got to see them a bunch of times. A band called Brave the Storm. You can check them out on Spotify. Some artwork by yours truly.
That's right.
Also, for the record, that album artwork that I did, as simple as it is, one of my favorite projects I've ever worked on. Just to let you know that.
I'm glad. We love it.
Yeah. Good. But no. Also, I had a fake record label that I made. I've never really talked about this before, but I've had a fake record label that I came up with, and Ryan CD, or not Ryan CD, but Brave the Storm CD was the second record I actually put out on that record label. It wasn't fake. I mean, we actually did stuff, but I mean, I've never really talked about this with anybody, but I basically made up a fake record label so that more people, when I actually tried to book tours and stuff for my band, people weren't paying attention to us unless we were actually signed. So I had to come up with a fake record label with other bands to be on it. But it kind of worked out in the end because we promoted each other. But that's how I know Ryan. His band was amazing. May they rest in peace. They're not making music anymore.
I appreciate it. And shout out to O Jerusalem because, listen, all right, to add to, I guess the history with you that you aren't aware of is that you are one of a few figures in Lexington that we really wanted to be in with.
Oh, yeah. Of course, I knew that.
Jay Williams at the time, you were also doing photography, and we were like, well, if we get photos from Jay Williams, we're gonna have that much more attention. Our MySpace is gonna kick ass. So we were absolutely excited when you were taking pictures. You took pictures for us at shows, and we went out and shot some here in your hometown, right?
Yeah, in Versailles. Yeah, that's where I live now. That's where I'm from. Yeah.
It's the same spelling as Versailles in France, the Treaty of Versailles, but we just call it that because we want to.
My girlfriend's from Frankfurt, so that's the ties. Sorry,
and not Germany, Kentucky. Continue.
Right, exactly. So, we were very excited. We always love to come out and support OJ, and that was a really fun time.
It was, yeah. I mean, a lot of people probably don't care if they're listening to this, but I mean, that whole time period of my life when I was in bands and working with bands and doing design work with bands, and the Lexington music scene was really big. That was a really pivotal time in my life that just a lot of people don't experience. Like when I tell people I have to say stuff like I went to punk rock shows in church basements, and they don't really understand. But man, we had a lot of people coming out to those shows. But I'm really excited that you're kind of making this movie kind of centered around that with this person. From what I've read of the synopsis, a person that's has a favorite band that's influencing them and stuff like that. Like I think that's really neat. So, but yeah, thank you for the kind words about that and stuff. Yeah. Go ahead, Michael.
And just for me, like, what's your music background, Ryan?
Okay, so I was 16 or 17 when I joined Brave the Storm, like you said. That was my first and only band. I guess before that, when I was younger, it was only dreams, right? I always wanted to be a rock star. I think everybody goes through that. Mm-hmm. My biggest influences at the time were Linkin Park. I was in love. Mike Shinoda and Chester. I really wanted what they were. Which unfortunately it started with me trying to emulate Mike Shinoda. So I wrote terrible raps. I don't have the voice for it. I could never pick that up. So then I decided that I started kind of diving into what you would call hardcore music. Well, so Jay, what do you call this kind of music? Like I've never been able to give a specific genre, because you hear people say, like in high school, I would tell people I play screamo because for some reason that resonates, and then people kind of understand, but they probably don't, right? Because they. Well,
looking back on it now, I mean, hardcore music is a very general term, but
yeah.
I just say I play aggressive music, but if I were to ever coin
Screaming Diamonds,
if I were to ever coin your band's genre, I have always said from day one that you guys were a melodic hardcore band, and, and that's just another thing I've got to say about your band. Like I'm not bullshitting people. Your band was awesome. I loved you guys because you were doing stuff that nobody else were doing. Dude, they had some great songwriters in the band. Like Josh was a great guitar player, and you had like pretty much 3 vocalists between you. Yeah,
they all kick ass.
Great songwriters, incredible.
They need more credit, way more credit than I deserve. Because we spoke before the show that I wouldn't consider myself a musician. My role in the band was to sit there until they were done writing, and I would nod my head, say, "Yes, I like this. No, can we change this?" And I can only speak in certain terms as far as music theory goes. I'm not very educated.
Make the breakdown shorter. Make the breakdown shorter.
Yeah, I want to be able to do this here, and then with my lack of words, we would kind of go back and forth. It was kind of like Tarzan talking to Jane when I would talk to them. But anyway, we'd work it out, and I wrote, and I was the screamer. So that was essentially my role. But yeah, they deserve way more credit than I do.
Yeah. Well, all you guys were very talented, and we'll stop blowing each other here soon. But,
I'm enjoying watching.
You would, Michael, California prick. But I don't know. I just really liked it, the stuff that you guys did, and a lot of those guys are still up to stuff right now. I know Josh is producing music. Is Eric? Is he playing music at all?
Eric, I think he's eventually going to get into recording. I think he's going to go to school for it. He's also been playing for some church bands.
Yeah.
But he's still very active. Sadly, we're all kind of parting ways from each other, though. And that was to kind of go back into the movie aspect of it. Or what the original question was, what's my musical background? So yeah, I was in the band. I joined them in like 2007, and we were together for 4 years. Like Jay said, it was such a pivotal point in my life, and that's something that I wanted to address in the movie, because I thought I definitely had a built-in audience for it, as far the fans of my band and the fans of other bands that we played in the scene. I wanted to really reach out to them. Because I owe them so much.
Well, I think that's a really cool thing that you're talking about right there. Just because, like, man, I'm sure there's scenes like these little pocket scenes, like was in Lexington, the Lexington area, and the surrounding cities. I'm sure there's tons of places like that all over the country that are just crying out for that story to be told.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I think, just to interrupt you there, I mean, I think it's great that you've, like, a lot of writers do the research on this, and I'm sure you've done the research, but part of that is personal experience. I mean, at the end of the day, when you're watching a movie, it's like, wow, I feel like you feel touched, your emotions feel touched. And for you to actually have had that experience of where you know what it's like to, be obsessed with this band, and, like, how cool would it be when you were a little kid to just have your music hero just come in and their bus broke down and they're so freaking cool and they're touring, and, it's like.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just love your story, Michael.
Did you say finish my story?
No, I just said I love your story.
Oh, yeah. Well,
he's paraphrasing. He's paraphrasing the plot. Right? That's
right.
Well, that's what happens in the draft that I told you about, Gilkey. It's going to end up kind of be changing a little bit. But yeah, that's essentially what happens. This 14-year-old kid, he has social anxiety. His best friend is his 40-year-old mom. So his personality isn't ideal for the time in your life when you're ready to pick up girls, and you need your boys, and you need to go to the games and hang out and what have you. So his only release is through this kind of music, which is something that I related to at his age, because that's about the time that I started accepting this genre of music as something really substantial. He's got his favorite band, and he goes to see them, and through various plot points, he ends up getting to live with the lead singer of his favorite band for an extended period of time, and they sort each other's issues.
Yeah, a good coming of age story.
Yeah.
Sounds like
a brand new Holden Caulfield. I see. That's funny.
Which a lot of people think Holden Caulfield's a douche. I'm sure your main character is much more relatable than that. But
I hope so. I hope so.
man, I tell you what, like with my last draft that I wrote, you know, you've got your main character and you want the audience to like your main character. We talked about this earlier about TV and movies. Well, the difference with a TV show is you've already done all this work. It's like, oh, yeah, I know who Don Draper is. I like him already, or I relate to him, or I empathize with him. Or Walter White. You're like, oh, yeah, I know Walt. He used to be a teacher, but now he's coming along now. Like in a movie, you just got to hook them right in.
Now he fucking sells meth and shoots.
Damn it with the spoiler alerts.
I knew him the whole time. I knew him.
If you haven't watched Breaking Bad yet, he starts making meth.
He's a bad motherfucker. He makes Samuel L. Jackson look like a little bitch.
But I mean, in a movie, you have less time to get the audience to connect with your main character. But yeah, I'm just ranting now, Jay. You know, you had your music rant to connect, but I'm ranting now. Where I want people to like this main character, and a friend of mine reread it. He read it, and within okay. So I'm really trying to get the audience to like this main character, and then my friend says to me, he's like, "Dude, your main character's an asshole," and I was just like heartbroken. This was right into my first act. It was like at the end of Act 1, starting Act 2, and I'm just like crushed. So, but that's the thing about rewriting it is, you have to just there's a lot of work that goes into it, and more so than you would think with any movie. If it's got a good screenplay, then that's key. I mean, we just lost Harold Ramis, who helped write Animal House and
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, he was in Ghostbusters. Just a phenomenal writer. But it's good to see that you're bringing this experience to the table of the music making side of it, at least.
Yeah, and that was a huge goal for sure. The movies that I was kind of drawing from were I love Almost Famous.
Great movie.
There's a lot of Almost Famous in it. Fight Club was another huge, and I know that sounds like Fight Club, what? But as far as like the dynamic between the main characters of Fight Club, something that strong was really important for. You could call the rock star Tyler Durden, and you could call the kid narrator. I guess
Edward Norton's character, yeah.
Right? So that dynamic is really important, and then to kind of put it in. It's a comedy, coming of age comedy. So stuff like I Love You Man, like a buddy comedy, that was also important. I think I just basically told everyone that I just stole from certain movies.
No, man, you know what? You gotta be influenced by somewhere. Yeah.
Right. No, I actually.
Fuck all you internet haters are shitting on Ryan Snelling's fucking movie.
Well, I mean, that's how people in the industry talk. They're like, oh, well, it's old school meets hocus pocus.
No, I always read it's something meets Die Hard. Have you come across that? Die Hard apparently influences every movie that comes through Hollywood.
Such a pivotal. I mean, Die Hard is like the pinnacle of action movies.
Right. Absolutely.
So this is just kind of off the top. Well, it's on the top movie topic. A comedian friend of mine posted a picture on Facebook, and it said, "Describe your last fart as a movie." So, like your last fart, you have to just be like. And my example was The Blind Side. And there,
you had a big black fart.
Clear.
Your mom had to take care of.
Well, I mean, like clear and present danger, like to describe the type of fart that it is, I guess. The movie title has to describe the type of fart. And it always goes, this podcast always goes back to farting.
I guess I read way too much into it.
So your fart has to do with Sandra Bullock's personality, right?
A very talented black fart that a rich white woman had to take care of. So, I don't know.
I'm I'm looking at my movie collection now, and I was trying to come up with one, and the first thing I saw was First Blood.
Oh.
It's better. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Alone in First Blood.
I don't have any movies on my shelf right now, sadly. But anyways.
It's probably all CDs.
No, I don't.
Records.
It's all vinyl, yeah. I'm looking at crosses right now. I'm trying to think of. I have Bring Me the Horizons, Sempiternal on vinyl. It's pretty good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
really
saw you
like that album.
post something about that. It's a good album. I didn't like it as much as I liked the one before it, but it is a good record, though. It's very Slipknot-y. Do you ever get that feeling?
Yeah.
Sounds like Slipknot.
Do you
That's okay.
listen?
I like Slipknot.
This is off topic. I'm rambling. Do you listen to Of Mice and Men?
Yes. Not so much of their newest record, but a little bit
Okay,
of
well, I don't listen to them, but on the newest record, they have a song on there that they just completely ripped. Antivist. Do you know what song I'm talking about?
really?
The
Yeah,
South
yeah.
Scimitar? Oh, it is like a carbon copy. It's horrible.
Yeah. Maybe we'll review it. We're actually reviewing. Michael doesn't know this yet, but we're gonna review Emir on the next.
Oh no!
On the next one. On the next set of podcasts.
I'm excited for you, Gilkey. Oh man.
I don't know who this band is. I've never listened to them.
I'm just gonna give you a taste of their lyrics, okay? Ask your girl what my dick tastes like. That's all I'm gonna say. So.
Oh, well, actually, that just helped with my pick that I'm going to do for you now.
Okay. Anyways. Well, I don't – how much time do we have left? We've probably gone way, way over.
Well, yeah. We're toward the end of an hour. And if I could, Jay, you can think of another question. But my last question to Ryan would be, if you could make, one pitch to listeners out there in Galaxy Land, Gilkey Way Galaxy Lands, whoever is listening or watching, what would your last pitch be for your movie?
Basically, our parents.
Right.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
My last pitch. I'm trying to think of something different than what I said in my pitch on Indiegogo. Interesting. I guess I think that there's several themes in the movie that I will briefly just gloss over. One huge theme is about how I believe that my generation is in danger of losing their ability to communicate with each other. It deals a lot with the young boy stuck behind screens. He doesn't know how to communicate in person, and I think that's a huge issue that people my age face and even younger. It kind of worries me because, I wonder what it's going to be like when these people try to go to job interviews and things like that. And I think that they're suffering and they don't know it. That's a huge that's a huge theme that's addressed in the movie. I do think it's really important. I think it, and also I think it's important because it sheds a light on that kind of music that we've been talking about, and a lot of people have negative thoughts towards it. We addressed that in the movie too. My parents didn't understand it when I wanted to do it. No one in my high school understood it when I told them what I did. I just kind of want to bust open the doors on all these issues that I think are important to me, and hopefully I'll deliver. Hopefully I can put it together in a formula that makes a very funny movie.
Yeah,
excellent.
I'm really excited, especially that one of those points that you just hit on, just telling that story that people like you and myself definitely got to experience. Just that sense of unity that I think that a lot of people that went to those shows back in the day, and just some of those experiences. I mean, while all of my friends were going out and getting drunk at parties and stuff, I was like, moshing,
not me,
mosh pits. Not you, but I was dragging Michael along to do sing-alongs in like a pit at a YMCA or something like that. It's just different. And I just want people to,
Yeah,
I'm excited, man. I'm really
Yeah,
excited.
I was the guy that Jay was just like, we're gonna go to this hardcore show, and you're gonna be the only guy there wearing polo shirt and what kind of shorts are those? Seersucker shorts. You're gonna just be the only one there, and then people were looking at me like I'm an asshole because I guess I am a little bit in some ways, but probably not. But still, I'm there at a hardcore show wearing that, and I wonder why I get kicked in the mouth at a As I Lay Dying concert. That's probably why.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, that kind of defeats the purpose. I mean, but like Jay said, I mean, it was definitely a fraternity in a lot of ways. It was a brotherhood going every weekend to see the same guys over and over again. And
Yeah.
I can't
see 95 Theses
Yes.
every single weekend. Yeah.
But as far as like being the guy that wears the polo, but like I don't know. Jay, do you remember when you took pictures of me? I think there was one show I wore khaki pants and an American Eagle polo.
Yeah, I mean,
Jay's done that too.
Eventually, you stop wearing the uniform. You know what I mean? You stop wearing the scene kid uniform, and you just. I think more people make fun of you because you wear that quote unquote outfit than they would if you just showed up wearing whatever you fucking want to wear.
Right. So, if you go to Warped Tour and A Day to Remember's playing, then you see like a ton of frat bros. I mean, it is kind of funny to see who that music reaches out to and what bands kind of get out more than others. But I never really, if I wore the outfit or the uniform that you called it, it was because I was doing it for the wrong reason, for
Absolutely.
sure. I definitely would have appreciated you, Gilkey, if you showed up wearing.
He always showed up wearing a burlap Ron John hoodie. I have pictures of it. I swear to God, that thing was burlap. I don't know how you did it.
Oh man, yeah. Like I still get shit to this day. Like all my comedian friends still, make fun of my attire for actually, just always because here's the thing. If music sounds good and I enjoy it, I shouldn't have to dress a certain way to show somebody like, oh, I enjoy this music. I mean, I don't know. But people do pay attention to how you dress. But, I mean, like, for me, it was just cool because, Jay was always into this scene with music. And, it's like the theme of your movie where you have a music scene. And you do have that in every city. You do have people that go to the same – whether it's a comedy show or a rock and roll show or a rap show, you definitely have a niche of people in these genres. And, I just think it's great to, kind of show that in a different way and kind of get on the inside of it. I don't really know where I was going with that. I feel like I'm rambling now, but I just think it's cool. I just really think it's cool.
I feel like I've been rambling this whole show. I mean, I've never really known what to say ever.
That's what this podcast is about, dude. That's what, we're just here to talk, and I'm glad we got a third insight other than Michael and I just being absolute idiots.
Yeah, that's the thing about these podcasts, though, is like in 20, maybe 30 years, some 13-year-old kid is going to be going through iTunes. He's going to be like, holy shit, man, this is Ryan Snelling on a podcast with these two jerk-offs? Didn't that Michael Gilkison guy, run himself in front of a train and, throw himself out there when he wrote his screenplays and he didn't do that great with them? And
Michael, this is not something you should be sharing on a podcast. Your deepest, darkest desires.
That is not my darkest I'm just saying you never know what could happen. You never know.
Yeah. Okay.
Skip the part where you go into the porn industry and all that.
Ooh, I could definitely see Michael on porn. He's got the facial hair for it. That's for sure.
Oh, my gosh. Right. Well, my mother is very proud of me right now.
I love your mother. Your mother's amazing. I love your father.
Your mother's amazing. Your father? We have great parents. It's
all right. We have straight up been rambling.
We have.
Let's wrap this sumbitch up.
Well, yeah. Speaking of porn, let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
Good. Sounds good.
Ryan, man, thank you so much for coming on here, dude. I can't wait to see everybody go out there and check out his Indiegogo campaign. Where can they follow you on Twitter and stuff like that?
You can find me on Twitter at whatthesnell, SNELL.
So Oh, sorry.
No, same with Instagram. So yeah, what the WHAT Snell SNELL. That's me on Twitter and Instagram. I love both of those things very much. So
And there, I'm sure it'll be easier for people to find you on there, and then they can get to your Indiegogo from there and do all that stuff. Okay.
And again, to plug it one more time, go to Indiegogo, search Heart Core, and then you will see my project. And thank you guys for having me on this. This was awesome.
No problem.
Yeah, we enjoyed it, Ryan. Yeah, thank you so much.
For the record, I love the ladies, but also Ryan, I want to extend an offer to you in the future if we ever do like a movies in the galaxy or a TV in the galaxy to come on and be our guest sometime, man.
I will always be available to talk movies and TV.
Always Absolutely. In the galaxy. Ryan Snelling on the down low.
Ryan Snelling in the galaxy.
All right.
Man, well, this was fun. Well, anything else? Any final thoughts? Any post-final thoughts?
Tum-tum for your yum-yum. That's all I'm going to say.
And on that note, thank you again to Ryan Snelling. Very talented guy. And this has been an Indiegogo project in the galaxy. Thank you very much, guys. And we'll catch you next time in the galaxy. Thanks for listening.